Happy Monday! It is pouring in San Diego, but that's not why I have my hat on, my favorite hat. I want to share with you my go to strategy for stretching myself. If you're not growing, you're dying. And personal development can be all the things. It can be what you make it. So let's try to make it fun. And this is my go to strategies for developing myself, becoming a better person, stretching myself, expanding. I think you get the point. All right. Happy Monday. It's East, and I'm back with a motivational Monday with, again, my perfect strategy, my go to strategy for expanding, stretching, growing myself. And I'm wearing a hat because a mentor many years ago told me one way to grow yourself, one way to expand is to take your favorite hat, this is my favorite hat, and throw it over a really high wall. What does that mean? If you took your favorite hat, your favorite object, and you threw it over a very high wall, you would find a way to go get it, right? You would say, hey, whatever it takes, I'm going to get over that high wall and I'm going to go get that favorite object of mine. So that is a strategy for expanding yourself. What is something that you want to achieve? And how can you get yourself, almost like throwing your favorite hat over the wall, force yourself to go achieve it? Right? For me, here's an example. For me, I wanted to be an author, but I hated to write. How does that work, right? And so I knew that I was going to have to force myself. Every time I sat down to write an article or a book or something, I would just self-critique it and say, oh, it's horrible. There's so much better writers out there. This is horrible. But there was some yearning inside of me to be a writer. So I took my favorite hat, I guess my pride in this point, and I called Pacific College and I said, I want to be an author for your newspaper. Can I be an author? And they said, we would love that. We need your article by this date. And that was it. I obligated myself, I committed myself to them to finish that article. And guess what? The self-saboteur in me tried so hard not to do it. So I had about 2 weeks to write this article. And for about 2 weeks, I made up excuses in my head when I could tell them why I didn't write the article. I really was just sitting here for 2 weeks. All of that time that I wasted making up possible excuses to get out of that commitment, I could have written a stupid article. Instead, what I did, I waited till the very last day, the night before the article was due, and I stayed up till 2 a.m. and I wrote the article. And again, I woke up in the morning, looked at the article. Oh, it's horrible, horrible. I didn't care. I sent them the article anyway. I threw my favorite hat over the wall because I was committed. I want you to remember this, and I have to remind myself. I always show up for these motivational Mondays. I don't know that they're for you. They might just be for me. They're pumping me up, right? And I hope they pump you up. I want you to remember this. I'm going to remember this. It's not really as much about getting the goal. I did write that article. It wasn't so bad. I went on to write several articles, and guess what? I got better and better every time I did it. But that's not the point. The point is, it's who you become going after that goal. That's where the gold and the magic is. Another thing is, I really wanted to get fit back in the day. I was kind of a chubby kid, and I still feel chubby all the time. Doesn't matter how fit I get, I still have that kind of like chubby imprint. And so I really wanted to get in shape, and it wasn't even enough to get a buddy to be my accountability, like, hey, let's work out Monday at 9. No. What I knew myself that I would find a way to get out, or if they canceled on me, I might not go. So I became a fitness instructor because guess what? As a fitness instructor, I had to show up, didn't I? That's another example of taking your hat, your favorite hat, and throwing it over the wall, committing yourself. What can you do? Think about it. As I'm talking, I'm giving you examples of myself. I'm pretty sure there's something you're like, I know, I really want to, I don't know. Stop hiding. Come out of the closets, my friends, and be all you. If not now, when? When would be a good time for you to be all you? Now. When would be a good time for you to finally go after that dream? Now. When would be a good time for you to pursue that which you think which you feel is going to bring you more joy in your life? Another example for me was I had many of us get these downloads, right? It's like, I got this download. I got this inspiration to go do this. And then we're like, oh, but who am I to do it? One of my downloads in 2018 or 19 was to put on an event, right? I go to a lot of continuing education events. I go to a lot of personal development events. Maybe you do too. And maybe you're looking at them going like, oh, why don't they have this? Why don't they do this? You know, you think to yourself, gosh, if it was my event, I would do X, Y, Z. Or why isn't there an event that you get continuing education and healing? And I thought, well, wait. You need to create it, right? If there is something that you're looking for in the world and you can't find it, maybe you are meant to be the creator of that thing. Maybe that's it. So I did. So I said, okay, I'm going to create an event for continuing education where you get healing at the same time, but I don't even know what that looks like. So first thing I did is I started telling people I was going to put on this event just to kind of feel the waters, right? Hey, I'm going to put on this event. Would you be interested? And a bunch of people started saying, I would totally be interested. So that's one thing you could do. Then I said, all right, I guess I have to get a big space. So I went to a hotel room and I signed an agreement that locked me in to tens of thousands of dollars to run this event. And I had never run the event before. I figured I'm going to figure this out, aren't I? Because I threw my favorite hat over the wall and I'm going to find a way to get that hat back. And so I signed the contract and I ran that event. It was called Recharge. It's still called Recharge. And was it perfect? No. In fact, you want to hear something funny? It was expensive. And at that time, I didn't have a lot of money to spend on these events. And so towards the event launch, before the event started, I thought, oh, I don't even have signs for the room or anything like that. So I started looking up how expensive like pull-up signs would be. So I got my child's artwork and I cut out the word recharge and I taped that to the wall. That was my first year, my friends. And guess what? People loved it. It was okay. The point of me telling you the story is it doesn't have to be perfect. Your first go-to at this big stretching goal of yours doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to show up. That's it. So I've done Recharge 4 years and we're going to do it for the 5th year in August of this year. Go to my website, dreast.com if you're interested. It is an amazing event. And guess what? It has gotten better every year. Another thing is like running marathons, half marathons. I didn't know if I could do it, so I signed up. So again, what is it for you? How are you going to stretch yourself this year? How are you going to grow? How are you going to expand? And how are you going to develop yourself? Here's a strategy for you to try on. I like to say that, right? When I coach a lot of people and I say, hey, just try this on. If you work with me, that's what I do. I am a master strategist. I will come up with so many ideas for you. And then you get to try on each idea, like my little flash dance outfit I have on right now, and say, ooh, this one I like. Well, great. Let's wear that for a while and see how that feels in your life. So, nothing in life is guaranteed, and I will share one more pearl from my experience. When you are expanding yourself and doing this method of taking your favorite hat, throwing it over the wall, and finding a way to get it, right? Like think about Virgin Air real quick. He didn't even have an airplane, and he started selling tickets. Richard Branson started selling tickets on a plane that he didn't even own. That is throwing your favorite hat over a wall and figuring out how to fill that. So if you have a business idea, or an online course idea, start selling that course before it's even developed. What? Yes. And if you do have an online course or a program idea, join me in my program. Go to dreast.com, go to online courses. And if you sign up for that course, I will upgrade you to the coaching. That's a special I'm running right now. Let's get your program, your information out into the world. But one way to sell that, to get that program finished, is to pre-sale it. So let's say you have a product idea and sell it. Sell it before it's even done, and you'll have like pre-sales, do a GoFundMe. You have pre-sales. Those pre-sales help you finish the product and launch it. That is one way to guarantee that you'll finish it. So here is the pearl that I mentioned a moment ago. You will be tested. Sometimes you will be tested at how much you really want that. A story for me was, for years, I wanted to do a 10-day silent retreat. Why? Because I didn't know if I could do it. I never shut up. I don't stop talking. So, and I had met a lot of people back in the day. I went to Chinese medical school. A lot of people had done these silent retreats, and they had something. There was some secret sauce that they gained from those retreats. So I always wanted to do one, but it was never the right time, right? It's 10 days. When do you get 10 days off? It was never the right time until 2020, 2010. Geez, I don't know. It was a long time ago. But I found that, okay, I didn't have any plans for Christmas vacation. And so I signed up for a 10-day silent retreat. I was finally going to achieve this goal of mine and experience this 10-day silent retreat. I was scared. Could I do it? Not talk for 10 days, right? So this story is full of inspiration, hopefully, because part of stretching yourself is doing something that scares you that you've never done before. And you don't even know if you could do it. I didn't know if I could do it. So I signed up for the 10-day silent retreat. I was single at the time. I had the time. I was okay not being at home for the holidays or New Year's because I was single. I'll just go to the silent retreat. After I signed up, about a month after I signed up, guess what? I got tested. I fell in love. And the person that I fell in love with, who actually is downstairs, was like, oh, you're going to be gone for New Year's Eve? Oh, bummer. I was hoping we could spend New Year's Eve together. Of course, right? Do you know how tempting it was for me to cancel that retreat and spend New Year's Eve with this new love I found? Oh, it was beyond tempting. But I didn't. I said, I'm sorry. If you were meant to be together, you'll still be there after the retreat. This is something I've always wanted to do, so I've got to do it. And it was tempting. I was tempted and I was tested, but I went, and it was one of the best things I've ever done. Did it grow me? You bet. Was it hard? Oh, yeah. But I did it, and nobody can take that away from me. When you go and you stretch yourself, you expand yourself, you do something like that, scary, big, audacious, whatever it is, guess what? I'm not this super Vipassana person. It's not like I'm doing these all the time, but I did get some of that secret sauce, and nobody can take that away from me. In a time like ours, which is so chaotic in life, right? Is the economy going to collapse this year? Are the aliens going to come down and take us over? All this uncertainty, there's one thing that's certain. When you work on yourself and you develop yourself, no one can steal it. And you get to carry that with you. And that's what we take with us beyond this life even. So I didn't mean to get this deep on this Monday, but if you can't see it already, I'm on fire and I am pumped, and I would love to support you and motivate you. So if there's anything that is challenging you, send me an email, east@drreese.com, put into the chat. You have a tribe of 8 billion people here on this planet. Right? Lean into that. Lean on us. We're all here. We all love you, even if it's not apparent. On one level or another, we all love each other. It's just that all this stuff is in the way of that love. So that being said, I want to send you much love, and I want to challenge you to pick at least one thing that's super scary, but you would love to experience it, try it, go after it, expand yourself, stretch yourself. So the challenge is to take your favorite hat and throw it over a very high wall and find a way to go get that hat. All right, my friends? Motivational Monday, sending you much love. Stay dry and safe in San Diego or parts of the world where it's snowing. And I will see you here next Monday for Motivational Monday. In the description, I have an invitation for you to join me for a Lunar New Year party. Friday, February 9th, I'm going to spend 3 hours with you online on Zoom to do Mission Manifest. Are you living your life's purpose? How do you know? Maybe you feel like you are, but you're just off your mission. You're feeling a little cranky pants, or you have a case of the Mondays. This workshop's for you. It's only $47. The link to sign up for it is in the description. I'd love to see you there. It's going to be fun. You're going to get a workbook and a whole lot more. All right? What are you going to create? How are you going to stretch yourself? How are you going to grow this year? You have a choice. It's your choice. All right? See you soon.